Welcome everyone to another session on the editorial discussions by SILS 360 IS Academy. So in this session, we will be discussing about a particular editorial that came today. It was regarding how the pulse growing farmers in India will be negatively affected by the US trade agreement, right? So India actually committed to buy a lot of pulses, which is going to, according to the editorial, is going to adversely impact the pulse growing farmers by depressing the prices. So pulses is actually an important crop, right? So you need to study it about the pulses. This session will be regarding about who is the largest producer, who is the largest exporter, consumer at the international level, and also at the state level. We will also look into the individual pulse crops as well. Okay, so at the international level, India is actually the largest producer. We are also the largest consumer. Okay, and our consumption is met by imports. Okay, we are not imports or self-sufficient in the case of pulses. We import. We are also the world's largest importer. Okay, China is the second largest consumer as well as importer, but the second largest producer is actually Canada. Okay, Canada, and Canada is an important pulse producer as well as exporter. Okay, Canada is the world's largest pulse exporter. Okay, so that just keep in mind. Second is actually Australia, Russia and all, but the statistics are not very updated as such. So you can't really expect a aspirant to know clearly about who is the second producer like that, but you need to know which players are dominant. Okay, like for example, if some other country is given, they are saying that they are the largest exporter. Okay, then you need to know that, okay, that statement is wrong. Okay, so the largest producer, largest exporter, those kind of things you need to keep in mind when you're studying a crop. Okay, so it's useful for prelims. Mostly for world, these gross levels are useful for prelims. For mains, you may need to go deeper. Okay, so we will do that also in this session. So remember, these are the important players regarding pulses. India is actually the largest producer, consumer as well as importer, but the largest exporter is actually Canada. Canada is actually the world's second largest producer as well. Okay, so at the if you look at the gross level, the largest producing states in India are actually Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Maharashtra. Okay, so the orders may change, but this is useful when they are asking you to map. Like for example, in GS1, there will be crops are there. Then GS3 also again you will have to study all these crops, marketing, agriculture questions will be there, right? So major cropping patterns are there in GS1. So whenever they ask for the map, you need to draw that these regions, right? So you need to draw. Right, so whenever you are drawing the map, so you need to draw something like this, right? These kind of areas would help, and then you mark Madhya Pradesh first. Okay, 1, then you 2 Rajasthan, okay, and 3 you just mark it as Maharashtra. So these are the largest producing states. So whenever they say some other states, you need to figure it out. Okay, you need to connect and say that that statement could be wrong. Or the gross level. This is at the gross level. Now, if you look at the individual crops, there are certain things you need to know. Like for example, you have Rabi pulses as well as Kharif pulses. Okay, then there are certain crops that can be grown in both seasons, which we will see. But in India, Rabi pulses production is greater than Kharif pulses production. Keep that in mind. Okay, so it is during the Rabi season more pulses are going to be produced. Okay, so just keep that point also in mind. And now we will look into the different crops. Okay, so whenever you're studying these crops, if you're not actually familiar with the agriculture crops and all, please understand the different names of that particular crop as well whenever you study. Okay, because UPSC may change the name of the crop and ask you, so don't get confused. Learn the other names of the crops as well. Learn which all states are quite dominant in that. So these kind of statistics, they may change over the years. In fact, UP is a good player, big player in pulses. They may change, but overall, whenever you are writing for mains, you can use this. but for prelims, you just need to know that top producer, okay, at that level, because if the statements, if they do come, it will only ask like that, because the statics are not very, updated like that, real time, right? So coming back to the pulses, different type of pulses. Remember, the most dominant pulses in India that is being produced in India is actually gram. Okay, and gram is what we call as chana, right? Chana baturas, that's chana, right? Chana, and it is also known as chickpea. Okay, chickpea. Okay, and gram actually amounts to almost 47% of all the pulses being produced in India. 47 in quantity, it's actually gram. Okay, and if you look at the largest players, it's usually Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, like that. But sometimes Uttar Pradesh also will come. In fact, Uttar Pradesh was the, recently, if you look at the internet, it says that Uttar Pradesh is the third largest producer. Okay, so that's why I said if you go to that level, different statistics may be there. But just know, Madhya Pradesh is actually, it's a very important player. In fact, Madhya Pradesh is what we call as the pulse bowl of India. Okay, pulse bowl of India. So, gram. Now, the second important thing you need to know regarding gram is the type of crop. It's a Rabi crop. Okay, that is why the Rabi pulses production is greater than Kharif pulses. One reason is because gram is actually a Rabi crop and gram is the predominant pulses being produced in India. Right, so if you look at the production, it's actually a Rabi crop. So that's regarding gram. Okay, we will also see that MSP, which crops have MSP also. We will do it at the last part of the session. Okay, the second most important crop that you need to be aware of is actually the second is actually Arhar. Okay, Arhar, or what we call as tur, and it is also known as Pigeon Pea. Okay, Pigeon Pea. Okay, it's actually important. So remember, chickpea is there, Pigeon Pea is there. Okay, there is another crop known as lobia, which is what we call as cowpea. Okay, so don't get confused regarding all this. So just remember, Arhar is the second largest pulses being produced. It amounts to almost 20% of the pulses being produced is actually Arhar. It's a Kharif crop. Okay, remember, it is a Kharif crop. I hope the difference between Kharif and Rabi is clear, right? Kharif is in the rainy season, monsoon. The gram is sown during October. Okay, retreating monsoon season. Anyway, so Arhar. So remember this bit. If you look at the largest producers, it's almost like what you can say, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra and Karnataka. But then again, these statistics can change. Okay, over the years it may change. Just know that Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka is also a major player in Arhar. Okay, Arhar also has MSP, which we will see later. Okay, and the third crop that you need to aware, you need to study is actually, third is actually Urad. Okay, Urad, or what we call as black gram. Okay, Urad or black gram. Okay, so if you look at this is also so this is crop can be grown in both Kharif and Rabi season. Okay, both are there. In fact, if you look at gram also sometimes it is grown in the Kharif season, but predominantly it's Rabi crop. Okay, but Arhar is purely Kharif crop, and this is actually can be grown in both Kharif and Rabi season. Okay, Urad. Okay, if you look at the production, largest producers is actually Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra again. I think then I think it's Rajasthan, I think. So anyway, just know that these are the major players. Okay, so if some states like Odisha comes up, or some other states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, those eastern states come up or northeastern states come up, please understand that statement could be wrong, is wrong. Okay, so this is the third crop. It's almost amounting to 10% of the total pulse production. Alright, now the fourth important pulse crop is actually Moong. Okay, Moong, or what we call as green pea. Okay, this is also a Kharif. It can be grown in both seasons, Kharif and Rabi. Okay, they can be grown in both seasons. Right, so if you look at the production, the largest producer is actually Rajasthan. Okay, Rajasthan. Second is Maharashtra, then Madhya Pradesh. But just know that the production is usually around those three states. Okay. So this is the fourth important crop that you have to study. Okay. Remember the other name as well. Okay. Green pea, black gram. Remember all those names. So then you need to know about lentil and what is that? Lentil is also known as Masoor. Then you have ordinary peas there, PEA, and which is also what we call as the muttar, right? MATAR. Okay, so these are the different crops, other pulses being grown in India. So I think we covered all the major pulses. So the first important pulse is actually gram. Second is Arhar. Third was actually Urad. Then we had Moong. Okay. Then you have lentil. Okay, and as well as pea or mutton. Okay, so there are other various smaller pulse crops, like for example, like I said earlier, horse gram. Right, horse gram is actually what we call as horse gram. So that is also there. Okay, so these are the different pulses that you have. So if you look at MSP, gram has MSP, Arhar has MSP, then Urad has, lentil has, then Moong also has MSP. Okay. Okay, so these are the different pulses crops that you have to keep in mind. So whenever you are studying, understand the different names of the crop. Just take a note of the largest producer. Then what else you need to know? Then you need to know whether it is a Kharif or Rabi crop. These are all Rabi crops. Okay, lentil and pea is actually Rabi. Okay, these are Rabi crops. Gram is also Rabi crop. Arhar is actually a Kharif. Urad and Moong can be grown in both seasons. Okay, so this is the gist about pulses. So we need to know that India is not self-sufficient in pulses. We import pulses. We are the largest consumer of pulses. Most exports, Canada is a big exporter of lentil, pea, etc. Gram is our predominant, pulse. Okay, so these are the things you need to know. So the editorial was primarily about how the pulse growers will be affected negatively due to this, agreement to buy pulses from America. So pulses are important topic for the prelims as well as for mains. So study it, comprehensively. That's all in this session. Thank you.